Welcome into Major League Soccer Bets. I am Deke, and here are my favorite 6 plays for Saturday's slate in MLS. A lot of things to consider. We had 5 teams play midweek, and we kind of want to take advantage of the schedule due to a lot of things, a lot of factors going on. Before this week, we had 3 matches in a span of 8 days for almost every team. Every team but these 5 teams had a full week to recover. The 5 teams that played midweek are still dealing with some fatigue and definitely will have some rotated squads. So we want to really look to take advantage of that. We're going to start in the first match, FC Cincinnati. We're going to take them against LAFC. As you can see up here, 49.72 implied win percent. Yeah, I like FC Cincinnati a lot at home. They haven't been as dominant this year at TQL Stadium, but they have been really good. If you take a look at this matchup, LAFC are traveling across the coast, and they were one of the teams that had to play on Wednesday. They played the U.S. Open Cup final, and they ended up going to penalties. So 120 minutes. All of their best players arguably played 120 minutes. So your Denny Bouangas, your Bogusz, and several other players that are key. So I'm predicting that they're going to rotate a decent amount to give some of these guys some legs, because we are getting into playoffs and we're getting into a playoff picture, and we want to be fresh. All the teams want to be fresh going into the playoffs. I know we're playing for seeding at this point, but I really like FC Cincinnati minus 115 rested. Lucho Acosta still rested, and I really like their attack with Giacchini coming in. Kevin Kelsey's playing pretty solid, and the back line is back and healthy. So I like what FC Cincinnati can do. I really like their odds of winning. If you take a look at LAFC's last 5 on the road, they've lost 3 of the 5, and they've actually been dominating their last 2. So FC Dallas beat them 3-1. There was a rotated squad there. I expect a similar type of squad. And then the LA Galaxy lost where they were up 2-0, and then they kind of blew it in the second half, losing 4-2. So that's my first play. I really like that atmosphere there, and FC Cincinnati is going to be hungry. The next play, we're going to go to the player prop market. So Jordi Alba, we have his game log available on RotoWire. If you take a look at his game log, he does get a decent amount of assists, and I really like the idea of taking him to score or assist for plus 135, and against a Charlotte team who has struggled outside of their last match where they won at home 4-0 against New England. They've struggled mightily against a pretty soft schedule, to be honest. So maybe that 4-0 win is going to get something going, but their road form, again, has not been very good. If you look at their last 5, they've lost 3 straight on the road. The other 2 were draws, and Inter Miami have won all 5 with or without Lionel Messi. So I like the idea of Alba getting in and putting in an assist. It's likely not to be a goal, but he has even scored. If you can see from the graph here, I mean, 3 goals in his last around 10 to 15 appearances for a guy that plays left back and pushes forward. And the amount of quality balls he puts into the box are just going to be, possible tap-ins for Luis Suarez. And if you can find Messi, although Messi didn't have the best matches against New York City FC last match, I really like the plus money chance at Jordi Alba scoring or assisting. Get a little bit of best of both worlds there. My next play is probably a tough one to stomach, to be honest, based on the entire season. But it's going to be FC Dallas plus 130 at home against Orlando City. So you're probably thinking, okay, Orlando City's been good, right? They're 5th in the East. They have a lot of things going for them. FC Dallas has been terrible this season, flat out. They have been. But we are getting into a healthy FC Dallas team that is desperate to win. They have to win out and have a little bit of help, basically, to make the playoffs. It's win or go home at this point. You have Jesus Ferreira back. Peter Musa should be back in the lineup. And Alan Velasco, another key piece. He started the last match for the first time after tearing his ACL. He's back as well. That 3-headed monster up top, if they're all healthy and can play, that's exciting. a lot of these matches that they haven't had any of them, or it's just been Peter Musa. So there's been a lot of struggles throughout the season, but it's more health struggles than anything, back line issues. But in this situation, I'm backing them. They've won 3 out of the last 5 at home, and they're kind of getting into a little bit better form. It's not everything that you would want it to be, but it's definitely better than they have been. So Orlando City, on the other hand, they've been in good form too, but not at home. Their last 2 matches, a Columbus Crew match where they kind of made it look closer at the end. It was 4-1 at one point, but they ended up losing 4-3. And then they lost 3-0 on the road to Sporting Kansas City, who hasn't beaten anyone really throughout the season. So, yeah, I like FC Dallas. It doesn't feel great, but the price is right at plus 130, and I do think they're going to get it done. And hopefully we get a little bit of weather help, and it gets nice and hot, although Orlando City doesn't have any issues with that. So we just talked about Kansas City, Sporting Kansas City. We're going to fade them again. So we have a huge rivalry here. It's in its 2nd year of existence. If you read my article on my Deke's Diamonds, I like St. Louis City a lot this upcoming weekend. I know that both teams are kind of out of the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. This is a rivalry match, and I love St. Louis City. I couldn't find a prop at the time of recording on Marcel Hartl to score or assist. That was going to be one of my favorite plays. So when that is posted, I will be on that as well. But I'm going to go with straight money line. So minus 125. I think it's a great opportunity to back St. Louis, whose attack looks a lot better. There are some questionable statuses throughout that we have to kind of keep an eye on. But for a rivalry match, they've kind of been holding people back in training just to make sure they're good for Saturday. We're going to have the best possible lineup. And the kicker, if there were no other reasons why, the best part of it is the U.S. Open Cup match that LAFC played in. Sporting Kansas City was the other team, so they played 120 minutes as well. Full force roster. So they have a choice here. Are they going to rotate? Which I think they're going to rotate kind of significantly, and it'll look like their roster from the last weekend in league play, which they had some good, some bad. Or they're going to play guys who are gassed. Several players, like Johnny Russell, played 120 minutes. I just don't see him starting or being effective if he does start in this matchup. So while St. Louis City has not been great, again, another team that I'm backing because fading Sporting Kansas City and that short rest, there would be on 4 matches in a span of like 11 days, which is really tough coming into this match. So as far as form, St. Louis has won 3 of their last 5, which at home, which is great. And on the road, Sporting Kansas City has been pretty bad, but they've also had a pretty tough stretch of fixtures, losing 4 of 5, and the only other one was a draw. So they haven't won in a really long time. I really like St. Louis City. Might be my favorite play, but in the range of that. And then my last matchup is going to be Portland in Vancouver. So like I said, I am really attacking teams that are going to be tired. Vancouver isn't going to be as tired as those other teams. So this is a little less of a confidence play and a little bit more off the radar. So first of all, I'm going to go with Portland on the road plus 240 to win outright. Probably sounds crazy. Evander is not in the lineup. He is out due to yellow card accumulation. He's their best player. Again, sounds crazy. Vancouver played midweek. They played their best possible 11, 90 minutes for most. Some guys like Ali Ahmed coming back from injury played 45 minutes. Andres Kubas, he played 90 minutes and he's coming off an injury. So I really doubt he would start. So you're probably going to see several rotated players. And this is another kind of rivalry match, the Pacific Northwest. Both teams are in the hunt for playoff position. Both teams should make the playoffs. But Vancouver, they've been solid at home, but they haven't been winning every single match, that's for sure. In their last 3, they're coming off a scoreless draw against Toronto. Toronto has not traveled well all season. Their only win in their last several matches at home was against San Jose, who has been downright awful, and they're going to be the worst team in the entire league, winning the wooden spoon this season. So you don't really love to see that as your only win and the only team that you can beat. But Portland, they've been just an absolute goal fest, and they can't help from conceding. Max Crepeau, he had that great run for Canada, and then he comes back and it's MLS, so he keeps conceding. But they have a lot to play for. They have decent odds at plus 240 in a team that's roster-wise I really like. Yes, they don't have a Vander, but I'm backing them as kind of like an upset pick for this weekend. I wanted to have one upset that I'm not super confident about, but I really like the odds. I really like the idea, and it brings me into my last play from the same match, and it's going to be Santiago Moreno to score or assist. So if you take a look at his graph, he's been hit or miss. If you kind of look throughout, but the big thing is Portland has been scoring like crazy. They've been conceding like crazy too, and he's going to be in the mix with not scoring. He has 1 assist in his last 5 matches, but he is so hot and cold. He runs really hot and cold. You can see from this stretch, it was like every match he's getting a goal, an assist, a goal, 2 assists. He's kind of all over the place. He's going to be forced into a role that could be absolutely huge. So with a Vander out, that opens up a huge hole. So however Phil Neville plays into this pretty significantly, but it's not a bad play without the kind of set piece implications. So if Eric Williamson plays, which there's a solid probability that he will, and Anthony plays on, could play on the wing, and Moreno could play cam if that's what they decide. If he plays, Moreno would at best split set pieces, but if Williamson does not play, as you can see from our great set piece charts here, Evander has a complete monopoly on these sets. You take a look, if Williamson is out of the starting lineup, he should come off the bench. During those maybe 60 minutes, Moreno, Jonathan Rodriguez could take one, Ayala could take one, sure. But you're looking at Moreno probably getting corners and set pieces that Evander would normally get. So Portland generate a ton. And if you kind of look, if you play DFS, Evander is unbelievable. You look at the amount of free kicks, set pieces that he gets, 7, 6, 11, a couple anomalies there, 5, 9. So they are there for the taking. And if Moreno is the guy to take it, that's great. If not, he can get it done from open play as well. I expect there to be goals in this match, especially if Vancouver has some tired legs at home on the turf, which Portland will be used to. So those are my 6 favorite plays for this Saturday. Good luck, everybody, and hopefully you guys enjoy the last few matches of the MLS regular